Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Pies Presser, where we dissect and discuss the latest Collingwood news. And we're 2 days out from the game between Collingwood and Brisbane, and we do have an injury update from the club. A star player is readily available and good to go. We'll talk about that a little bit more and see whether we actually decide to go ahead with selecting this star. His name, Jordan Goey, of course. The star midfielder is now available. What does that mean? What does that mean for Jordan Goey moving forward? Are we going to see him string together games? Is he going to come in as the sub? What happens to players like Sullivan and Ed Allen who are putting their hand up and contributing to the side? Let me turn on this fan because it's just got a little bit hot in here. But how are we all? Steve, what's going on? Metro Boy 22, what's going on? We will talk about the variability in the way the side can move forward with selection. We'll do the predicted 23. We'll definitely do that tonight. We'll do some footy tipping. And we'll talk about this article that was posted yesterday in the Herald Sun regarding the rolling situation with the two father-son prospects, the two NGA prospects who've they're all putting in monster games in the Coates Talent League right now. So they're just looking more and more poised for or some of them, two of them at least, are poised for first round sort of draft selection. That's where they find themselves right now with the way they're performing. There's been an article on it about the draft capital, the draft value index, and how all the points sort of work out, and the difficulties Collingwood may find in acquiring 4 players using academy or father-son bids. Now, we know we've given up our first round pick in the last 2 years. We don't have the 2025 the draft period. There are sneaky ways to work around it. You can sort of ask for exemption from the AFL to access further draft picks. The rule is typically you need to use 2 first round draft picks every 4 years. It gets a little bit more convoluted when you throw in the fact that they've opened up the ruling with regards to how many picks you can access in the future. So you can access your current future pick, would be 2025 if we had it. And then there's 26 and 27 that we can now access, if I'm not mistaken. Whether that comes in this year or next year, I can't quite remember. I think off the top of my head it is this year. In saying that, you would have to be incredibly savvy with the way we utilize our picks moving forward. And we've got the likes of Lepich and Shane O'Brien who will definitely show us the way. Look, we know what Lepo was able to achieve in delisted free agency, in free agency, in the trade period and the draft period. It's ticks across all the board. So I think I've got some really good faith for someone like Lepich to get the job done regarding getting these players. My microphone is dropping out. Guys, is it dropping out for you guys as well? How do I sound? Let me know and then we'll be able to continue. I just want to make sure I've got this all good. Alan out, us sub. Yes, there, Chris. How are you? Does it sound like I'm cutting out? Freddie Jong, welcome. Freddie Jong enters the chat. Collingwood Premiership Twilight or Night Grand Final 2025. Love it. Love it. I might just keep it rolling for now. No one's really saying anything just yet regarding the microphone, so we'll just assume that it's all good. Okay, cool. Sweet. No, you're sweet, Sean. Sound is good. All right, moving on. Anyway, so this article was posted by John Ralph yesterday in the Herald Sun. And guys, we'll get to the predicted 23. We'll do that all together. Just stick around for another 10 minutes and then we'll get to that and we can do that together. Collingwood will have the luxury of 4 draftable father, son, and academy selections after a small forward who's never trained at the club became the latest shock draft contender to emerge. Jai Sexton kicked 5 goals for the Oakley Chargers on the weekend, starting the season on fire after booting 2 goals in each of his previous 2 contests. So, Jai Sexton has Indian heritage and is attached to Collingwood's NGA as he represents the Oakley Chargers. Now, I'm meaning to either go to one of the Oakley Chargers games or just watch it online and be able to, and sort of get a better gauge for what type of plays we're expecting out of the likes of a Jai Sexton in particular. So let me just go here one moment. We'll go back. Go fixture again. Go Talent League boys. So I'm pretty sure they played some pretty strong competition on the weekend in the Sandy Dragons, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So they went down by 16 points to the Sandy Dragons, and I'm sure there must have been a couple players, maybe from both sides, who were representing the AFL Academy squad against the VFL Tigers over the weekend. So the sides were probably a little not as strong as people would have liked to see going into this clash, but it is what it is. Jai Sexton 5 goals, 17 disposals, 15 kicks, 2 handballs, 3 tackles, 4 inside 50s. So a real monster game from a small forward type who, he's pretty much just come out of nowhere and has really cemented a strong conversation for the early parts of this season. And we're now looking at another player who just wasn't on our radar when it comes to drafting at the end of this year. And it makes things trickier with all the free agents. I think if I had to bet on it in the way we would use the off-season to bring players into the team, whether it be draft, free agency, or trades, I reckon we'll try find a way to bring in free agents who won't cost us anything, and then we draft and we sort of leave it at that. That's my gut feel. And then with our potential outgoing players like Bruzzy, like Bobby Hill, like Darcy Cameron, these types of players may bring in draft capital if they are to be traded elsewhere. Bruzzy's the unrestricted free agent. We would get some sort of compensation there in the first round. Darcy Cameron, depending where he goes, you could you sell him off for 2 first-round picks at the ripe age of 29/30? I don't know. Definitely at the very least a first-round draft pick. I know he's the best ruckman in the league, but his age profile probably doesn't warrant 2 first-round draft picks in my opinion. Nevertheless, we're going to get some sort of decent draft capital if we were to lose these players, right? So you got Jai Sexton who's there. You got Tom McGuan who had 38 touches on the weekend in a loss to, was it the Eastern Rangers? So the Western Jets, not the strongest team. They were down by they lost by 59 points. They got pumped at their home ground, unfortunately. But Thomas McGuan continues to push towards vouching for why he's a first-round draft pick. You know, wherever he falls in that first round, whatever. You'd almost, I think I was having this conversation early last year. You almost want him to sort of fall off the radar and not be super impressive, and then we don't have to pay for him as much because teams will realize or assume, and this is not a practical way of thinking. Like Tom McGuan's not going to go out there and underperform on purpose, but imagine if he did, he'd slide a little bit more and cost us a little bit less. But I'm sure either way we'll figure it out. Let's see what else. So Jai Sexton was not considered a draft prospect until his explosive start to this season. We already said he's an NGA prospect because one of his parents is Indian. What else have we got? Who else? Okay, so this was the coach of the Chargers, Ash Close, a former Pies staffer. He's thrilled with Saxton's emergence. We're excited for him to come through with that background and come into footy. He has a lot of talent and he's come a long way. To be completely honest, Jai's development has been very fast over the last 3 months. It's a credit to him that the penny has dropped. It's happened very quickly. He trained with us last year and would have 3 touches and kick 3 goals, but he has worked on his ability to get up the ground and support ball movement and put pressure on as well. He's turned himself from a 5-possession, 3-goal player to a 5-goal, 21-possession player. Credits to Collingwood. They've really stepped up their involvement with these kids. I worked at Collingwood for 10 years, so we almost trained them up like Collingwood players now, so that helps the 2 boys become familiar with the Collingwood style of play. Now, mind you, Sexton has not trained for Collingwood's ones just yet. They've had Mick McGuan roll through, Ryan Loney and Zach McCarthy, but not Jai Sexton. With new list changes, we will see the father-son discount go from 20% to just 10%, as well as changes to the DVI, meaning the Pies might not take all 4 players they have links to. For the first time, clubs have to pay a fair price for linked players, and Collingwood does not have a first-round pick after trading it out in the Dan Houston trade. Ralphie adds, lastly, it will add another complicated element to Collingwood's hopes of keeping Braden Maynard. Losing Maynard for a quality compensation pick would allow them to bring in some of the kids, which would help their list transition. Fascinating, that, isn't it? Let's catch up. Freddie says, I can hear you, Andrew Schultz. It's okay. Magpie Country is also saying the mic is dropping out. Why is it doing that? Let me try something. Give me one moment. Bear with me. Let me see what's going on here. All right. Let's see how that goes. Let's go properties here. All right. Just let me know how it goes again. Ned Long must start midfield with his big frame. We'll get to the predicted 23 in a moment. Nathan Churches will find a way to get the picks. That's the job of the recruitment team, isn't it? It's going to be difficult, but like I said, based off the way Lepa went about it in the off season just gone by, I think we'll be all right. Yeah, I saw, Rick, that Sam Draper is a unrestricted free agent. Now, he's certainly not up to the level of what DC is, but at the same time, when DC came to Collingwood, he was not up to the same level as Brodie Grundy. So, who knows? I think he's from Perth or Adelaide, though, so maybe the Crows will have a look at him. They've tried to move away from Riley O'Brien a number of times without success. Someone will pop up and want to trade out like Nobes. Maybe. I mean, the only 2 players that spring to mind at the moment, or 3 players, are DC, Bobby, and Braz. If Pies win the flag this year, Brazzy can leave with my blessing. I would say, if we win the flag with Brazzy, would he not want to stick around so that we can solidify this club in this era as a dynasty side? If you think about it, right? You win the flag in 2023. If we win the flag in 2025, you have a chance to win 3 flags in 4 years and pretty much have a legitimate argument to say that you're the one of the greatest modern era sides, along with the likes of Richmond, Sydney, Hawthorn, Geelong. You know, going back to the early 2000s, Brisbane as well. You put yourself right up in that caper. Beau McCreary is one who could potentially go to South Australia, but I'm just not too sure. There's not a lot of chatter about that. Arlos is a great show. Go Pies. Can't wait for Thursday, mate. I hope with LDU signing this early doesn't mean they already have Bruzzy sewn up. Kieran says, can you still go into deficit with draft points? This would help. I believe so. I said this in a stream before. I'm not entirely privy to the draft deficit process, so I'm going to write that down now because I need to look into it. Draft deficit. I'm sure it's a very, very, very simple concept, but I'll need to follow it up either way. What we're going to do is, are you guys ready for? Do you want to do the predicted 23? Let's do the injury update, and then we'll do the predicted 23. I reckon that's what most of you are here for, so we'll do that. Let's talk about it. Let's have a look here. All right. So the injury update came out just a couple hours ago from Jared Wade. Jordan De Goey will be available for selection for Thursday night's game against the Brisbane Lions. De Goey missed Collingwood's gather-round clash with Sydney due to inflammation in his ankle/Achilles. Lachie Schultz has increased his running speed since suffering a hamstring injury last week. Schultz is expected to spend another 1 to 2 weeks on the sideline. Tom Mitchell is continuing to build his running program as he returns from a foot injury. Harvey Harrison, Ash Johnson, Reef McInnes are all progressing well with their own individual rehab programs. So Lachie Schultz 1 to 2, Jordy De Goey available, Ash Johnson 5 to 7. Harvey Harrison is still a concerning one. He's still TBC, despite, when did he do his ACL? August. So we're nearly, what's that? That was 8 months ago, and we still have a TBC. I guess there's nothing too much to read into that just yet. Tom Mitchell still a TBC, but I don't. It's just those are two players who probably just want to nurse and caress and wrap them up in cotton wool and get them right for the second half of the year. Harvey Harrison, you could make an argument that you may as well just pull the pin on his season this year and just keep building on his rehab. He had a bit of a setback a few weeks ago with some knee swelling, so maybe that's something worth discussing. Reef McInnes obviously will be out for the entirety of this year and probably won't see him until close to midway next year, really. So that's where we're at with the injury list. Let's see. Comments, what you're saying. John Caxo says if we win it, there may be a few older guys who can go out on a high and retire. I mean, while Bruzzy might want to go on, you have to factor in if Scotty and Steele and Howe and Jamie Elliott, they retire after this potential flag. And then Bruzzy says, okay, well, Collingwood are clearly going into a bit of a rebuild after winning the flag. Then you go, all right, maybe there's not going to be a chance at a dynasty if these players choose to retire. I think if you go into deficit, it tanks... Sorry, 1 second, Brett Stav. I think if you go into a deficit, it tanks your first rounder for the next year. Interesting. I'll look into it. Okay. So you can go into deficit all the way 1,715 points. I think you can go into the deficit of that amount. I think so, Steve-O. Okay, I'll look into it. Guys. You reckon it's Billy's last year, Steve-O? Well, we get to celebrate his 200, so that's good. All right, let's get this predictor 23 going. I say, let's go share screen. That's not the right one, is it? You see, share screen. It's weird when I do this, so I go filter properties. There we go. Okay, so we're going to have to do it like this. We'll do this, guys. I made a little design for us to work with. Share screen. We'll do a bit of a crop. And then we'll just make that like that. And we'll chuck me. I reckon we'll just squeeze me in here. You guys don't need to see me too much for this. Maybe a little bit bigger. All right. Cool. Before we get started, so De Goey in for Sally, says John. Magpie Crunchy says, I feel like De Goey isn't completely fit. His second efforts were lacking in the last game despite his 2 goals. Look, De Goey is a match winner, and he proved in moments against Carlton once again that he's there when you need him. Yes, 7 touches isn't great, but he had 7 touches, 2 goals, and a goal assist, and kicked goals when it mattered. He's available for selection. So do they come out and say that and then not select him? I don't think so. So by that logic, we'll select the side using that logic. But you'd like to think if he wasn't 100% fit to perform, they wouldn't have even mentioned the fact that he's available. There is also the conversation that perhaps we opt for, say, the Goey as a sub, potentially. That can open the door for some opportunities for other players to get some more game time. But it's a massive clash. We win this game, we go 5-1. So De Goey's available. Lockie Schultz is not. Let's do this. Let's do it. One moment. Okay, here. All right. So I think let's keep it simple to start off with. Let's go more. We'll put Howe here. Brazzy here. Houston not available. Quaynor there. I mean, neither here or there whether Quaynor's there or there. Frampton, he's been our guy, hasn't he? He's been great. And then Josh Dacos there. Maybe we can put Quaynor here because I thought Perryman was very impressive going into the backline. Oopsies. I knew I was missing a player. Pez. How dare I? We were missing the Pez. Okay, so Pez is there. Okay, so that's our back six, and then maybe we'll make I'll make gold there. Yeah, nah. What do you reckon? Maybe black. Yeah, we'll just stick with that for now. We're still making some adjustments to this. De Goey won't place his mark. Leave De Goey for the Anzac Day game. I can see that. I'd be very happy to see Lockie Sullivan and Ed Allen have another crack, and Hoskin Elliott or whatever it may be. He needs game time to get match fit. Start him, then possibly sub him off for the run of Allen. Okay, if you guys agree with this, we can flirt with some of these permutations. Lipinski there, Jack Crisp here, DC. Wow, wasn't he unreal? He's gonna have a big game against McInerney, so that will be a massive head-to-head clash. Midfield. So we go. This seems pretty obvious. Ned Long and Nick Dacos, the 1-2 punch you didn't expect in 2025, and then Pendle's here. Have I got Sidey here? We'll put Sidey there. We'll go with that. We'll skip over to the forward line. Checkers was amazing. He had what? He had his 4 shots on the weekend and converted 3 of them. The week before wasn't so great. What do you have? He had 5 shots, 2 missed entirely and 3 behind. So he's been huge. He's going to have a massive assignment on Harris Andrews, I think. He'll be, and don't think that Membry and McStay won't have a similar role to play as well when they happen to find them. So, I mean, you probably could say, well, McStay knows Harris Andrews more than anyone. So maybe he does a job. Maybe he does a job on a Harris Andrews. Who else have we got? Bo was good. Bo was very important. 9 touches, 2 goals. Had a really nice kick going inside 50 as well. He showed us signs that we needed to see. He showed us some signs for sure. Move me there. All right. Billy, game 200. I think he likes his chances against a Brisbane side. He played quite well against them early in the year. So did this man, Bobby Hill. And they're both coming in with some really good form from the game against Sydney. I reckon, mate, we've got so many threats in the forward line. It's absurd. It's not fair. Who goes here? Remind me. Sully. This is where Sully was. And I've also forgotten. Jeez, look how bad I am. Will Hoskin Elliott should be there as well. This is where it gets tricky, right? So naturally, for the reason they have announced that De Goey is available, I think they will pick him. You could make the case that they should just rest him another week because our players are so are so they're all in form this side, right? What are we saying here? Rockabye, baby. Sorry, catching up, but isn't rules if you get a free agent, you get no compensation for losing one? So main decision may be linked to our plans on bringing in a free agent. So with Brazzy, he's an unrestricted free agent. If you're free, you get no compensation for losing. I'm not too sure. I'm actually not too sure about that one. If it cancels it out, if you bring in a free agent, you lose the compensation for the free agent that you lose. A little bit of a wordplay there. Declan says thoughts on moving Josh into the forward line. I don't think so. I think he's doing quite okay over here. If anything, you're probably looking at Jacos on a wing, maybe in the midfield at some point. Who knows? Okay, this is where it gets tricky. What are we saying, guys? What are we saying about this? We've got here. So, do we say Ed Allen? And then, so you could say Ed Allen here. So this is what you could do. Ed Allen there, or you could go Sullivan here, which I think this is more likely to be fair. I think this is what will happen. This is what we're going to see, in my opinion. And then, unfortunately, Ed Allen will be out. And I think our solitary in, will be the Goey. Maybe we'll make that a darker green, perhaps. Yeah. Come on, give me a good go. We'll do that. How does that look? Do we agree with that? Would love to keep Allen in, but Will Hoskinelli. Yeah, I think so, Sean. I think we know Flyer loves his experienced players, and certainly Will Hoskinelli is more versatile than Ed Allen. Like we'll see, Will Hoskinelli can play anywhere. He can play here on the wing. He can go deep. He can play in the back line. He just goes anywhere. Whereas Ed Allen, if he's not here, and I don't love it when he's on the wing. I think his best work will be done in the midfield. It'll be one of those Finlay McRae situations at the moment where he's sort of in and out of the side. But I think we've got a little bit more patience for Ed Allen compared to a Finlay McRae, just because of how well our side is going right now and the depth we have. Like, we look over here, what we're missing right now. We're missing McGuinness. Markov is in the VFL. Houston suspended. Ryan, TJ, Cochrane, Will Parker, all very likeable figures to take us into the future. Charlie Dean will serve as depth to Billy Frampton and Darcy Moore. Tom Mitchell, we still don't know what his final chapters look like. Finlay McRae played really well in the VFL, so I don't see him coming in this week, but I think if he continues to impress in the VFL, then who knows where he could find himself at this point of the year. Steen and Smith, I haven't seen a great deal of them just yet, but I'll keep an eye on them as the VFL season progresses. Westy was an emergency, so maybe we can extend this to who will be the emergencies. So if Ed Allen is out, let's go here. We can put the emergencies here. Charlie West was an emergency, so maybe we do that again. And then, oh goodness, I've missed my man as well. Here we go. Coxie. Missing a few players here, huh? We'll make sure that doesn't happen again. I reckon emergencies, just go there. Sully is competing for the same spot as Geordie. If Geordie plays and Sully can't, Allen is a running mid-winger, not a high forward. Well, that's why I think Sullivan will play. That's why I think Ed Allen won't play, because Sully can play mid. He can play forward. He's a little bit more versatile and ready to go. Left field idea. We trade Oscar Allen back, or we trade Ed Allen back to Perth and open up the draft for us. I mean, I don't know how much Ed Allen is worth right now if he was to be considered to be traded at the end of this year, depending how he goes. So I just don't think that's a relevant hypothetical just yet. I know he's from Perth. He's still got this year and next year on his contract. I think he's going to do everything he can to establish himself at Collingwood. So that's the way I see it. Allen needs a chance, says Theodoraki. Allen sub. Agree. Ed Allen out. Sullivan sub, JDG, and it's really that simple this week, isn't it? Hoskin-Elliott over Sullivan. That's fine. We can have both Sullivan and Hoskin-Elliott, and then Ed Allen here. Like I said, versatility will kill them. Looking at Brisbane's lineup here from last week, they had Dane, Zorko, Payne, Lester, Answorth, Harris, Andrews, Archie. Archie is going to be a tough matchup in the forward line for the Pies. We do have different types of players that we can put on him, whether it be a Quaynor, a Howie. Those are the types of players. Bruzzy will probably be a nice little matchup for Callum Archie, but he's been really impressive. How many goals did he score on the weekend? Callum Archie kicked 2 goals, 6 marks. Okay, so he's going to be a problem. Yeah. Hippold kicked 5 goals, I think, in the second half alone. So that'll be interesting. And Logan Morris, the kid, kicking 4 goals. So, and yeah, then throw in Zach Bailey and Cam Rayner and then Levi Ashcroft and Will Ashcroft and everybody else. They've got weapons all across the field. They're going to be just fine without Joe Danaher, and we've got to make sure we're up to it. Steve asks, because Rusty's playing so well, would Fly rest him or sub? Maybe if he's sore. I'm not too sure if he's sore or not though. So, given the importance of this game, I think we just try and field our best side if we're fit and raring to go. In my opinion, that's what I think. No fiddling about with subbing making experienced players a sub just yet. Can Perryman do a job on Zorko? Says Caxos. I think so. I think that will be a nice little assignment. He's probably interesting. I would have to say Perriman's someone who you'd think would get some sort of job on a Zorko, or maybe Josh Dacos and Zorko just shake hands at the start of the game and never see each other again. But I don't know if you want to run the risk. I think Zorko is, if it wasn't for Dan Houston, he's probably the best halfback flanker in the league. And I think you could probably argue in different facets of the game, Zorko probably is a better player than Houston and more experienced, which matters. So, yeah, we're up against some tidy competition. Hugh McLuggage is in Brownlow form. Lockie Neal is always going to do what he does. And they're going to want to have it out for us, aren't they? Bloody Brisbane. You guys pretty happy with this side here? Howie, Moore, Bruzzy, Pez, Frampton, Jacos, DC, Nakos, Long, Pendles, Lipinski, Crisp on the wing, Will Hoskin-Elliott, Brody Myercheck, McCreary, Billy, McStay, Hill, Quaynor, Sidey, Membry, Goey, Sullivan sub, Allen out, but listed as an emergency along with Charlie West and Mason Cox. Someone will need to shut him out. He's their chief playmaker from halfback. They're a different team if he plays well. I suppose this is why we bring in players like Harry Perryman, who's very defensively accountable and aware. Darcy thrived with a key defender doing the dirty work like Murph. Frampton's so important as he releases Darcy. Very important. It's also important that we just win the contest like we are and like we have been in the midfield. It starts with DC, and then it feeds through Ned Long to Nick Dacos. Sidebottom's been loving a hard ball lately. And then just retaining it in our forward half alleviates these fellas because they're better at defending further up the ground, aren't they? You know what I mean? You get these lads to create the great wall of pies, put them here, and retain in the 50. It's easier to defend that way. Chris Talbot says, I like the side. Collingwood will win by 20 points. All right, by the way, let's do our tips, eh? Let's do our tips. Let's go here. ESPN footy tips. All right. I think I had a decent week on the cards. Let's see how we all went. Where are you? I always struggle to find all the comps. Here we go. Show more. So I think by the way, the mic cuts out when I'm not talking. Like when I'm looking away like that, I don't think you guys can hear it. When I think I need to be talking into it like so. So maybe what I might do is I might put the OBS over there and I'll just go like that. Okay. And then we can do this. All right. Although, let's go there. All right. Let's have a look. I got 8 out of 9. Let's go. So who's leading? Shake and Dakes is leading with 35 tips, tied with Belinda, Raymond, and Breno. In round 5, your boy Pies Footy got 8 out of 9. There was a few there. There was 9 of us who got 8. No one got the 9 out of 9. I don't think anybody tipped. Who was it? Which game was it, guys? That nobody tipped. I think most people tipped Adelaide to beat Geelong, and that didn't happen. I certainly tipped Adelaide to beat Geelong, and that didn't happen. So, okay, well that's good. I think so far I've got 31. I've got 31. I'm still a little bit behind the pack, aren't I? I'm 46 in my league. Okay. All right. Well, let's enter our tips. All right, pretty simple. Collingwood go in as the underdogs. Pies by 50, because why not? North Melbourne versus Carlton. Am I going to use this as my bogey tip for the weekend? We'll hold that thought. Okay, well, you definitely have to go Essendon, even though it's in Perth on the Friday night. Good Friday. It'll arguably be West Coast's biggest game behind the derby that they have. Melbourne versus Fremantle, I just can't tip. Oh, can you tip Melbourne at the moment? Not really, can you? And I think they've got a few key players under injury clouds in Stephen May and Pickett. Adelaide versus GWS. Ooh. You see, I just can't go against GWS at this point. Gold Coast. Port versus Sydney. See, I like this. I like Port versus Sydney. Look at that. 16% of... I think this is the entirety of Australia, or if it's just the Pies Footy League, have tipped 16% have tipped Port Adelaide. So that's your smoky there. Bulldogs versus St Kilda on a Sunday. Here's another one. I could risk it all here. I'll go Geelong there. St Kilda versus the Dogs. Oh, I mean, if the Doggies bring in some handy players, who knows how they look. I'm gonna go Saints. I'm on the Saints bandwagon at the moment. Gone for some risky ones. I'm gonna go Carlton. Yeah, I can't risk that. Pies, Carlton, Essendon. That's 3 away sides. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've gone 8 out of 9 sides that are playing the away leg to win this round. So either this looks really good for me, or I could find myself a long way back after this week. You know what I mean? Submit tips. Alrighty then. All right, any questions, guys? How long have we been going for? 40-odd minutes? 38 minutes? Freddie Jong, the Brownlow medals between Nick Dacos, Matt Rao, and Caleb Sarong. North will beat Carlton, you reckon, Dom? That would be the end of Michael Voss, wouldn't it? Surely, that would be it, right? Anyways, none of our bother. I'm tipping Jamie to kick 5, says John. What is everybody else's prediction going into the game against the Gab? Are we all confident? Do we walk in not with arrogance or complacency, but do we go in with an element of, yeah, I fancy this fixture, because I do. I certainly do. I love Sydney. Ugh. I thought we were more of a chance going into Sydney than we were against Sydney last year. I remember that vividly. The feelings were different. Yeah, I go in with a great... we beat Brisbane in Brisbane last year comprehensively. So, yeah, hard to go against my boys. Ned Long continues his form. He just needs to keep building on that. Who knows what his ceiling is. McStay to torment his old team. Look, if he can keep Harris Andrews quiet, then that alone is a win. Long, 76 touches, and Jamie, 7 goals. I love it. Pies were 5 points. Cardiac Pies, Stefanos? Cardia? There you go. Tuesday, we're already 2 games out. 2 days out. I think Lions will be more nervous about this clash than the Pies. 100%. They've got some demons to attend to, and that is the Collingwood Football Club. So we go in as Brisbane's kind of recent, like very recent bogey side. So we'll go in with great wealth of confidence. As if I'm speaking on behalf of the side that has to play and not me, but that's the feeling. That's the feeling. Ned Long to be the best player on ground on Thursday. We just need him to keep stringing good games together, because who knows what his ceiling is right now. It went from being a role player, and now we're all saying potential star ability. Can't see Brisbane holding down the triple M's and our small forwards. Hey, look, between GWS, Brisbane, Collingwood, and let me just look at the other names. Adelaide, they have a great forward line. There's 4 really, really good forward lines in the league that I think on their day can tear apart any side. So it will be it could be the battle of the front 6 for both sides. Peter G says, it's great to see Goey back. According to Champion Data, the GOAT has been our most valuable player over the past 2.5 years. When he plays, we win. MD Melbourne says, Pies by 15 plus. We are a different team this year, and I'm feeling that. You're feeling that 2011 energy, are you? You're feeling that 2010, 2011 energy? Because I could certainly do with some comfortable wins. I've tipped Collingwood to win by 50 in my league, so I'm trying to manifest some easy wins. Some not easy wins, but comfortable wins, like the game against Sydney. That third quarter against Carlton made life a lot easier going to that fourth quarter, you know? Anyways, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. As always, thank you for... Oh, by the way, before you leave, there's a link in the description if you want to listen to this on Spotify when you're driving to work or going for a walk with your dogs or whatever it may be. The link will be in the description. Give it a follow. Leave a review if you like. I know some of you like listening to it on Spotify, so I'll try my best to pump them out and ensure that I'm posting them on both platforms, both on YouTube and Spotify. So that will be the link in the description. If you've made it this far and you're new to the channel or you haven't subscribed yet, click the subscribe button and stay up to date with all posts and live streams. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully we have some fly press conferences. We'll have moving the magnets as well. So we'll cover all of that then. Go Pies.